show you how to take notes, or specifically Cornell notes, over your geography textbook. So taking a look at this sheet is one of the sheets that I put into the course announcements. Of course, if you just have a line sheet of paper, you can do something that looks like this. So title up at the top, key idea and details, you draw a line about 3 fingers over from the red line, and down on the bottom you write summary. So you can do it either way. I prefer to take notes on the handout. So what I did is I took a look at lesson 108, looking at the Earth, on page 42, and I noticed several things. First of all, it tells me that the lesson is about planet Earth. My essential question, how does geography influence the way people live? Tells me why it matters, and then it gives me another guiding question. What is the structure of the Earth? So that tells me why I'm reading. I went ahead and titled my notes looking at Earth, because if you look at that title, it's a little bit bigger than the rest of the other red titles. You'll also notice that in yellow there are vocabulary words. You'll want to include those in your notes. And so, taking a look at that, what I would do is I would read probably about a paragraph at a time, and then summarize what the main idea and details are. So in this one it says, Earth is one planet among the group of planets that revolve around the Sun. The Sun is just one of hundreds of millions of stars in our galaxy. Because the Sun is so large, its gravity causes planets to constantly orbit or move around it. The Sun is the center of the solar system in which we live. Earth is a member of the solar system, planets, and other bodies that revolve around the Sun. So, what I did is, for structure of the Earth, I wrote down not only my vocabulary word, and I didn't write the definition just because of time, but I also summed up that paragraph. The Sun is the middle of the Milky Way. Then you'll notice that the next title is in red, and so I want to write that on my notes. So I put that over on the left-hand side, Earth and the Sun. And I read through about a paragraph at a time and pull my notes from those paragraphs. So in the first paragraph it says, life on Earth could not exist without heat and light from the Sun. Earth's orbit holds it close enough to the Sun, about 93 million miles, to receive constant supply of light and heat energy. The Sun, in fact, is the source of all energy on Earth. Every plant and animal on the planet needs the Sun's energy to survive. Without the Sun, Earth would be a cold, dark, lifeless rock floating in space. So what I did here in my notes is I wrote down just some phrases. The Sun is the source of all energy on Earth. Notice I made some abbreviations. That's okay. I'm not writing complete sentences. I defined axis and revolution. And then in the next paragraph, up at the top of the page, it talks about leap year. And so I wrote a sentence about leap year. The next header says inside the Earth. So in my notes, I wrote inside the Earth, and I summarized that paragraph. The final one says layers of the Earth. I took this paragraph and I also summarized it, putting just a few key details over on the side here about the inner core, outer core, mantle, and crust. This helped me take notes on both the right hand and the left hand side for key points and details, so I can quickly look at my notes over time. Then at the very bottom, it wants you to write a summary. This summary is what will mainly stick in your brain over a long period of time. Again, we don't want to just learn something for the test, but we want to be able to retain it for a very long time, and summarizing helps us do that. So this says, the Sun gives Earth all of its energy. The Earth spins around the Sun on its axis. The Earth is made of layers, the mantle, core, and crust. That summarizes what I had put up here. Notice up here there's no sentences, while down in the summary it is all sentences. Your summary should probably be 3 to 4 sentences long. Next you'll see a diagram, the diagram of Earth's layers. You might want to draw pictures in your notes to help you remember. The pictures in your notes would go on the right-hand side of your notes, while the title of the picture would go over here in the left-hand side. I don't think you'll be drawing too many pictures in geography, but sometimes they're helpful. The next page is page 44, and it has the deepest hole ever drilled, which I already put on my other notes. I would see Earth's physical systems, which I would start on the left-hand side, and it's a pretty big section with at least one vocabulary word. If the section is that big, it might take you the whole page of notes to get written down the most important parts. Now, sometimes students ask me, well, how do I know what the most important part is? Well, that's where you use your language arts skills and you begin to find the main idea and the details of the paragraph. The main idea really is going to be your header and be on the left-hand side, where the details are going to go on this side. So just like when you're writing a paragraph and you learn about main idea and details, the same is true with social studies. Finally, for this chapter, it talks about seasons. Again, this is a really long passage. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs just on this page, and a little bit of a section on the next page. There are also 2 vocabulary words. That might take you an entire page of notes, and that's okay. Remember, you want to be thorough, but you don't want to write everything down word for word. Again, you're using abbreviations and short phrases or bullet points. As a review, there are 3 parts of your notes. You've got the key points over on the left-hand side, and the details that go with each key point over to the side on the right. At the very bottom, you write complete sentences as a summary. The summary should be 3 to 4 sentences long. Now that you know how to do Cornell notes, that is the expectation for class, whether you are in science or social studies. If you have any questions, you can always email me at molly.felton@ops.org.